Welcome to EFT Nation, your home for all things tapping. For show notes and resources, please visit EFTtappingtraining.com. We are your tapping hosts. I'm Alina and Craig.
And I'm Craig Wiener. The information provided in this podcast is not a substitute for counseling or medical advice. The information presented here is meant to inspire and educate listeners, but are not guarantees of any kind.
Well, we're back for another episode, and I think I'm going to call this the good, the bad, and the ugly of PRs.
Okay, you're going to have to explain that.
Okay.
Press releases could be good, bad, and ugly. What do you mean PRs?
Yeah, okay. So there's so much confusion about this. We're going to so PR stands for psychological reversal.
And now, of course, for those that have no idea what that means, you're going to have to explain that. Is that a real term? Is that a psychological term? Is that an EFT term? What is that?
It is. It's an EFT term, and I think it would really help us to put this into context of like the historical model and where this all came from. So this originated, this idea of, and then the term actually, psychological reversal, came from thought field therapy. So thought field therapy was what preceded EFT, and Gary Craig, the founder and creator of emotional freedom techniques, had actually been trained in thought field therapy and made it easier to sort of do. He got rid of the algorithms and all of that, but one of the things that he kept was this concept of psychological reversal.
Right. Okay. And so let's explain what that is, and if it's a term that's still being used or it's just kind of out of date.
Some people are still using it. Yep. So here's the idea. There, with the traditional concept of psychological reversal, the way that I used to describe it in workshops is, think of it as there are two sort of intermingled ways of thinking about this. One is that there's an energetic component. You know, we talk about how EFT uses the energy system, uses the meridian system. You're tapping on acupoints and all of that. Mm-hmm. Well, the psychological reversal, energetic part, is this idea that if we have had something, a condition, a problem, an issue for 6 months or longer, we are likely to have our batteries. So we're thinking about energy. The batteries in our bodies are set up differently so that we have sort of adapted to having the problem. And EFT is not going to work, so goes the theory, unless you correct for that reversal. The batteries are in incorrectly. So the idea is you have this polarity, and like on the top of your head you have a positive charge, but under your feet you have a negative charge. And so EFT won't work unless we kind of compensate and correct for that. And the way that this was done originally was the idea of coming up with tapping on the side of the hand or rubbing the sore spot while saying the setup statement. That part of EFT, that's, even though I have this problem, and being very specific about that, I deeply and completely accept myself, will help correct it enough for EFT to work.
So I have a question. At the beginning, when this first got rolled out, how would you know if you had this?
Right. That's a good question. Yeah.
And so the way that it was determined early on, especially with thought field therapy, which utilized applied kinesiology muscle testing to determine whether the polarities were aligned and in the right way and configuration, was when muscle testing showed a strong response versus a weak response. And so this muscle testing was kind of the diagnostic way to determine if you were reversed. And if you were reversed and things weren't flowing well energetically, then you would make this correction with the tapping on the side of the hand, the saying the statements or the sore spot, all of that. And that would correct it so that things could then flow and move and correct on physical, emotional, psychological conditions, whatever we were working on.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the historical model. And the secondary part...
So let me just back up and do a little bit more history lesson here. Thought field therapy said everyone is reversed, or not everyone's reversed. We have to muscle test and check to make sure that someone is
reversed or not.
Is reversed, and we're gonna add the setup statement and the tapping on the side of the hand or the sore spot
if they are.
If they are, but if not, we can let go of that part. Well, Gary Craig said, to simplify it, let's just assume everyone is reversed on some level. Hey, there's a NLP reason why we should be all using the setup statement anyway. So let's go ahead and just add the setup statement without having to muscle test or anything like that. So that's the historical context of all of that. Now, so we're looking at the very top. If you're looking at a diagram, like the very top is psychological reversals. There's this wing that is about the energy, which we just discussed. And then there's this other branch, which is about the psychological part, not the energetic part, but the psychological part of psychological reversal, which is this idea that is more commonly known as secondary gain, secondary benefit. The idea that there is some part of you that's okay with holding on to the issue. There's some part of me that still wants to hold on to this illness. There's a part of me that still wants me to hold on to this poverty consciousness. There's a part of me that's still feeling like I still need or want to have this bad relationship.
So in other words, what we're saying is that there's some part of us, often unconscious, below the level of awareness, that for some reason isn't able to, isn't ready to, isn't feeling safe enough to be able to resolve the problem or let go of the pattern, or surrender to what is. So there's something challenging us that's saying, kind of the brakes are getting put on here.
Like I've heard people say, it's like putting one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake.
Because there's a part of me that wants to quit smoking, stop doing this, stop getting angry so easily, stop whatever the problem is I'm working on. But there's another part of me that's maybe, if I really stop that, then what's going to happen? Right? So there's this seesaw kind of split.
Sure. Okay, so I've been at this for quite a long time, and what I really learned in my practice with working with thousands of clients was there was this sort of like this intuitive knowing that I couldn't really quantify, which is if I actually addressed directly the secondary gain aspect of any issue when it came up organically, I wouldn't have to deal with the energetic. I didn't even have to know muscle testing. I didn't have to know whether it was do I have to correct for the polarity? No, that was foreign language to me. And of course there are people that, that work with different energy systems or healing modalities where they work on polarity responder, polarity reverse all the time and do muscle testing. That was not me. I really resonated with the idea of let's get to the root. Let's actually address what is the benefit. And if I do that, I think the energetic correction will happen automatically. Mm-hmm. And lo and behold, about 5 years ago, Gary Craig said the same thing. He said, don't worry about the energetic thing, the polarity is being reversed, the battery's in backwards. Don't worry about that. If it shows up, address the secondary gain. And what we have done then is taken it and really looked at it like it's another aspect of the problem. That's all it is another aspect of what needs to be worked on. Correct. So let's give some concrete examples, because this is all getting very theoretical.
I agree.
Okay.
So let's just say that, so I'm a client and I'm having Money issues.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm having financial issues and
Yep.
and I deserve to be making a lot more money. I feel like I'm hitting a ceiling. I feel like there's this other position at work.
Yeah.
That part of me feels like I should be doing that. I
Okay.
should have that position.
Okay.
But I haven't been able to talk to my boss about really wanting that because it's almost like double my salary.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's a huge increase and it would make life so much better. But, part of me has these beliefs that he's going to think that I don't have enough experience or I don't have enough of the
Right.
skill sets or whatever.
Right.
So I'm having problems like really putting myself out there and inquiring about this upper level management position.
Right, right. So all of that sounds great. It sounds like he really wants it. He's so
Oh my God, it would make life so much better.
okay. Here's an example of the ugly, okay? When an EFT practitioner would say something like, "Well, there must be something wrong. There must be some resistance you have to getting that."
Well, yeah.
Okay, so that's so. Or, how about why don't you want why don't you want to get over your money issues?
Well,
Maybe you're not willing to work hard enough
yeah.
on it.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe you're avoiding it.
Well, I guess I kind of am.
Okay,
I've
so
been procrastinating.
okay.
I'm feeling like
Okay.
crap now, even worse than when we started this conversation.
We say, we laugh and we say, oh, these are extreme examples. Let me tell you, from someone that's heard every story under the sun about sessions going bad and ethical complaints from people working with different practitioners, I hear this stuff all the time. There's no reason to attack your client about this. Oh my gosh.
Well, let's just say I don't think any practitioner thinks that they're attacking.
No,
their
they think they're
client.
helping. And that's why
Exactly,
it's ugly.
Because they're really wanting to lean in
Yes.
and have this person realize that they're getting in their own way.
Yes.
Right? And they're wanting to, highlight whatever's in the way. So they're trying to help.
Yeah.
Of course
right.
they are.
Right. And, in this example, it was kind of mild. But
Right.
when you're talking to someone that's had something like fibromyalgia, where they have been told for years it's in their head, you just need to stop worrying about it. Get on with your life and be happy. There's nothing wrong with you. Those kinds of things. If you tell your client that they're resistant or they want to keep their problem or things like that, then you're really you're just another one of these so-called experts that has told them it's all in their head.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's go over how to actually work with this in a trauma-informed, conscious, gentle, safer, yet very effective way.
Right. So in other words, what we're trying to do is assist them to see what is lying in the way from them being...
So I'm going to underscore they. It's infinitely more empowering that the client discovers this.
As opposed to the practitioner telling them you need to look at this. You should explore that.
Now, yeah, I mean, it could be a question. You could assign it as like a homework. Like, okay, so let's back up. So many thoughts. I just want to get them all out. So, the the idea that that you will find it organically. All right, EFT is such a beautiful, beautiful modality because things happen organically. So you don't bring this up, the idea of secondary gain, in a first session unless your client brings it to you. Hey, I know that there is some underlying reason why I might be holding on to this extra weight, and I want you to help me discover it. That's fine.
Okay, because they're asking for your help to help them uncover.
For sure.
They've opened that door.
For sure.
Okay, I get that.
But if not, the way that it's going to show up organically is, let's say you're helping them with a food craving. And the first week after all your tapping and the connections and the memories of grandma giving, the client donuts and her fear of, whatever, letting her memory go of grandma, all those things that you worked with, the first week goes really well. In fact, your client went from eating 3 donuts a day to eating 1. Okay?
All right.
And they're doing their tapping homework.
Improvement has occurred.
Session number 2 goes well, and the client over the week before you see them again after the second session does really well, back to even a couple days of no donuts.
Okay.
Wow. Amazing. Well, and they did their tapping homework. Third week, what happens?
Third week, they still don't make any improvement.
They revert back to not making any improvement,
back
or
to where they started.
Backsliding. And you ask them about their homework. No, I haven't done it. So,
and now they're feeling guilty.
Yes.
And now they're feeling bad. And now they're feeling like a failure because not only did they stop improving, they actually went backwards.
Yes.
Okay.
So now is a perfect moment, and a door is open for you to bring up the idea of secondary gain. And let's talk about ways that you can present this.
Okay.
So what might you say, Craig, to a client?
So first, I want to acknowledge, what was fabulous was with the work we did, that we did show, you showed yourself that you were able to make significant improvement.
Yeah.
And that's fabulous because that means that we can make progress with this. It's not something that's just absolutely cemented in. So that's fabulous. Now, that being said, we also noticed that something shifted in which then it started to revert again, right? So we acknowledged the pattern because it just was there. So I'm just curious, if there was some part of you, not even a part that you're aware of, that maybe something happened to this week as you were dealing with that maybe felt, I don't know, a little not ready to make this change. Maybe a little scared to make this change of what would happen. I'm just curious if we could talk to that part of you that maybe wasn't quite feeling ready or safe enough or good enough about self or whatever it was. What do you, if you had a guess, what do you think that part of you might be saying?
Excellent. Yeah, that's perfect. Another way to do it is to have your client imagine themselves in this place of not having any donuts. Let's say, and I'm going to pre-frame it. I'm going to tell my clients, let's do an exercise to uncover any hidden reasons, right? Hidden, unconscious, not aware of. Might be some small part of you that. That's all language that is sort of encouraging and helping your client uncover this stuff.
And feel safe for exploring it and saying it. Yeah, because it's almost like you need to let them off the hook a little bit, that there was a part of them that was acting they weren't aware of.
Right.
And being able to acknowledge that part.
So you pre-frame all of this and you say, okay, now close your eyes and imagine yourself getting that new job.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right?
All
Imagine yourself getting that new job. So how does that feel? Does it all feel good? Or is there some part that's not feeling good?
Well,
is there imagine the people around you. What are they saying about you with your new job? Is that all good? Or is there some people that are not happy with this?
That's interesting. Because right away I can start to think about some of my colleagues that would feel like if I got the job, they deserved it more than I did because of XYZ reasons. And they're my friends. They're the people I hang out with at work. And then I could already start to tune into like the jealousy.
There you go.
And then I'd be start to left out of kind of the grouping and what we do socially. It could be awkward.
Okay, so let's tap on that. So see, it opens the door for more tapping. Mm-hmm. And like we said at the beginning, how we're viewing psychological reversal these days is that's just another aspect to clear along the path of you resolving this issue.
And, you started this, which was really good, because how many people have these?
Oh, yeah.
Most people have these, especially when they've had a challenge that they're having problems breaking through, especially if they've had the problem for a period of time or the challenge, because they've adapted to having it, whether it's a physical condition or a state of a relationship or a certain money ceiling or whatever that is. And they've had to adapt to, well, this is the way it is.
Yep.
And then the feeling that comes along with letting go of it is scary compared to the comfort of holding the discomfort, right? At least it's used to.
Yep. Right. So, couple of final kind of tips on this. There are some categories for it, and you can certainly play around with the idea of these categories and personalize them to your clients. So categories are deserving, right?
I mean, like, I don't deserve, like, there's a part of me that feels like I don't deserve to get over this because somehow I brought this on,
right?
Given something I did, I deserve suffering on some level.
Yeah, so we may have to tap on what it is that makes you feel you don't deserve it.
Okay.
So, or deserving. Another one is safety. The classic one was Dr. Felitti uncovering that the people that were losing the weight the fastest in his weight loss program were actually those that were sexually abused. The ones that were dropping out. They were dropping out. The people that were that was not clear.
Yeah. So hold on a second. I know you have so many things in your head. So what you're referring to is the origin story of the ACEs, the Adverse Childhood Experiences Study, when they were working with obese individuals that were losing weight on the program, and then they'd stall out or they'd leave the program. And when they started to interview, especially...
And so let me just insert here. The people that were dropping out of the program...
Because?
The people that were dropping out the most, the categories, were those that were losing the most weight the fastest.
Right.
Okay.
And the reason they were
dropping out when he went back and questioned them, that evolved into the ACEs questionnaire, which was a game changer for EFT. When they were asked these questions, they said yes, that they had all been sexually abused as children.
And why would they be dropping out of a weight loss program?
Because it doesn't feel safe without the weight. And that is a classic secondary gain.
So when they started losing weight, they started getting more attention, more comments, more being looked at.
Or the perception or the inner feeling of it, right? Even if it wasn't external. All right, so deserving, safety, and the last one, which is a little more sort of nuanced, is identity. So I've had this problem for so long that I have identified with it, and I can't see myself and who I'll be without it.
So give me an example.
If I have had money issues my whole life, and I am an activist for let's say the homeless.
Okay.
And I feel like if I were to suddenly make a lot of money, then who would I be? I couldn't really represent myself as someone that's an activist who's working with a homeless population that have no money.
I'd then be seen totally differently. Exactly. I might be judged for having caved in to the people that make a lot of money and all those things. Yeah. And there's a discrepancy, and it can feel disconcerting. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so that's the good. When we uncover these things and we help our clients with it, it really is quite powerful. But it's just another aspect of using EFT. And I have to say, this is a little controversial in the tapping world, because there are people that are saying, no, we absolutely have to address the energetic part of this. And so there's some people trying to prove that it exists. There's nothing out there yet.
Well, the truth is we don't know if it does or doesn't. So it really doesn't matter until there's any evidence. Fine, explore the energetic. And in the meanwhile, the primary work that we're doing, that people are doing, usually with a practitioner too, because it's a hidden part, it's harder to discover this yourself.
Absolutely.
You can ask your own question, what am I not seeing that I'm blind to so that I can tap on it?
Right.
It's possible. It's just more challenging.
As our colleague Andy Hunt in the UK says, you can't read the label if you're in the bottle. All right, so I think we've given you a lot of stuff to chew on and practice and try out. Love to hear how you've been able to uncover your own secondary gains, or some, if you want to share us, with permission, of course, client stories. We'd love to hear. So thank you for joining us.
See you next time. Thanks for joining us today at EFT Nation. And remember that you can find show notes and previous episodes at EFTtappingtraining.com.